Welcome back to the 8-minute daf, where we try to do the synopsis of the daf in under 8 minutes. If you're interested in a full share, we have a 45-minute share. Today we had over 30 charts with stories, jokes, geschmack. Check us out. Kiddushin daf hey. We're discussing the 3 kinyanim for Erusin, that's stage 1 in marriage. Kesef, shtar, and bia. The Gemara says you cannot learn out the kinyan of shtar from the kinyan of kesef, because kesef, money, is something that you could redeem hegdish and meiser sheni, versus shtar, you can't just give an IOU to the hegdish and try to redeem something, and certainly not for meiser sheni. So how do we learn that you could be kind of a woman with a shtar? There's a hekesh havayli yitzia. Hekesh is anytime you have in a pasuk 2 words next to each other, it says v'yatza v'haisa. She gets divorced and then she got married. So we make a comparison between marriage and divorce. Just like divorce is done with a document, with a get, so too marriage, erusin, is with a shtar. So if so, why don't we say that a woman could get divorced with money? Just like she gets married with money, with a ring, money, so too she should get divorced with money. The reason is because the pasuk says v'kosavla. You write a get to her, you only get divorced with a get, and you don't get divorced with money. And the Gemara says when you're talking about divorce, we're going to learn a limud for divorce and not a limud for something else. According to Rezia Glili, who learns from the pasuk something else, he learns this halacha from kares krisos. In other words, the Torah says the word krisos, but you could break it in half. The Torah could have said kares, but the Torah extended the word to krisos, so we learn 2 things from the same word. According to Abai, the reason why a woman doesn't get divorced with money, because he has another svara. Ein sanegar nasik hategar, or Rosh Chodesh Elul. It's very appropriate for Elul, for Rosh Hashanah. A bad guy can't be used for good, and a good thing can't be used for bad. And since you're using money to get married, which is good, you don't use money to get out. Shtar is different. Shtar is 2 different lashonos, so it's very different. You cannot learn one of the kinyanim from another, that we said. But how about learning one of the 3 kinyanim, kesef, shtar, bia, from the other 2? Says Gemara, let's say for instance, learn shtar from kesef and bia. Gemara says no, kesef and bia hana'asa meruba. Their benefit is great. It's different than a shtar. What about bia to learn from shtar and kesef? That's also different because shtar and kesef, kinyana meruba, you can purchase many different things, slaves, karka, bia not. What about kesef to be learned out of bia and shtar? Also, we don't find anywhere the idea of kesef by that you could force a woman to get married with money. Rav Huna says an unbelievable thing. Although the Mishnah says you could be mekadosh a woman 3 ways, I have a 4th way. How? With chuppah. Typically, chuppah is the 2nd stage. After you do erusin, you do nisun with chuppah. Says Rav Huna, no, even erusin can be done with chuppah. Why? Because he has a kavachomer and a tzad hashava, the combination of the 2. The kavachomer is kesef, money. You cannot do stage 2. Could only do stage 1, which is erusin. So certainly chuppah, which could do the final stage, certainly should be able to do the 1st stage. And then we have a tzad hashava, which is also called a binyan av, and that is we find the halacha here. Let's use the same idea somewhere else. So we have a tzad hashava of bia and shtar, and we use the same idea that we have by bia and shtar. It's kaina, and it does erusin. It should be able to do. Chuppah should also be able to do erusin. Abaye addresses 2 questions that Rava asked, and Abaye says the fact that the Mishnah says a woman could get engaged 3 ways and doesn't say the 4th way like Rav Huna, that's not a question, because the Mishnah is only discussing those things that are said in the Torah and not something that you learn from a kavachomer. And addressing the 2nd question of Rava, that is exactly what Rav Huna's kavachomer is, that kesef could not complete the 2nd stage, even though there was kesef in the beginning, where chuppah could complete the 2nd stage after kesef in the beginning. Now, a brand new sugya. If a woman takes a ring, money, and gives it to the chassan and says, Hareini miskadeshes lecha, or one of the lashonos, she gives an asina and an amira. She does two things. That's 100% no good. What if she does one out of the two? Let's say the chassan gives a ring to her and she says the amira, Hareini miskadeshes lecha. So according to one pshat in the Gemara, it's nothing. According to another pshat in the Gemara, it's a suffix d'Rabbanan. If a husband says, Hareini ishech, I'm your husband, or Eini ishech, I'm not your husband, so it doesn't work for Kiddushin, and it doesn't work for Gerushin, it's not even a suffix, it's nothing. Why? Because it says in the pasuk, Ki yikach, the husband has to take, and he doesn't give himself over, and Vishilcha, he's the one that initiates the get, and it's such a zero that when it comes to a get, it doesn't even make her puzzle to kahuna. There's no reich haget. If a husband, a chassan says, Hareat mikudeshes, and he misses out the final word of li, he doesn't say li, Hareat mikudeshes. Now it's pretty obvious what he means. He means to him. But according to Shmuel, that says you need a yad meichiach, you need a handle that's very clear and obvious. You can't make any mistakes. So this is not Kiddushin because he missed out one word. Just like when a nazir walks by someone and that someone says, Ahai, I want to be like him. Since he wasn't very specific, according to Shmuel, he's not a nazir. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day.